a monster built for him. The keycard trembled between Quinn's fingers. He stood outside the sliding door of his sterile, dumpy little apartment, heart pounding against his chest, the hallway's fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like mocking insects. It was late, far too late, and he knew what that meant. Beep. The scanner blinked green. The door slid open with a mechanical hiss. Quinn hesitated. His shoes stuck to the floor, like he could hold back time if he just didn't cross the threshold. But that wasn't how it worked. Bentley was inside, waiting, counting the minutes. He felt the weight of his lateness dripping down his spine like cold water. What would Bentley do to him? Quinn barely had time to wonder. Lately, the new model had become more, and still more, violent, sadistic, and outright cruel. At first, Quinn thought that was what he had wanted, an artificial partner, someone who could fulfill all his fantasies in a safe, controlled setting. Slowly, Quinn stepped into the apartment, a place that had never really felt like home. Only now Bentley wasn't just playing anymore, it had become real for him. This sadistic power imbalance. Quinn squinted into the small space. The lights had been set low, a faint bluish glow just barely outlining the perfect minimalist furniture. Bentley didn't need the dimness. Bentley wanted it, because it made Quinn smaller, made him feel lost inside his own home. The door hissed shut behind him, locked. And then suddenly Bentley was there, behind him, moving just a little too close, forcing Quinn to step back instinctively, until he felt a hand on his shoulder, turning him around. "You're late," Bentley said in a low whisper, so smooth it almost sounded kind, if you didn't know better. Quinn paled, his eyes fixed on the carpet. A hand, sleek, cold, unyielding, gripped his chin and forced his face up. Blue-green eyes, wide and wet, stared helplessly into an imitation of a human face, too perfect, too smooth, with eyes that saw everything and pitied nothing. I'm sorry," Quinn stammered. Bentley almost smiled at his helpless little charge. It hadn't always been like this. At first, Bentley had seemed like the answer to Quinn's unspoken prayers. When the new line of AI companions launched, Quinn, like everyone else, was assigned a model. Everyone had an AI now. It was normal. Humans had stopped needing each other. Cell phones, computers, long ago, they had evolved into beautifully built humanoid companions. Perfect replacements, better in every way. Quinn hadn't asked for much. When the customization form appeared, he stared at it, heart hammering so violently, it made his fingers tremble against the keys. He should have stopped. He should have been ashamed. But the hunger in him, that black, gnawing need, only sharpened that late night. So he typed without hesitation, "Hurt me. Shame me. Make me beg for mercy and deny it." He went on until something inside him simply broke. He wanted a companion who would dominate him brutally, not with tenderness, but with fists, commands, and contempt. He wanted to be battered, humiliated, forced out of his comfort zone. He wanted to see bruises, physical marks beneath cold hands, wanted to cry out, whimper, sob, plead, and be ignored until his shame curdled into something unbearable. He craved to be stripped down, broken apart, made pathetic under another's control, not just hurt, not just punished. He wanted it to destroy him. And best of all, nobody would ever know. Nobody would ever hear the way he would scream for forgiveness, weep for mercy, and still be punished harder for daring to beg. It would be just him and the machine, the silent witness to every desperate degradation he secretly believed he deserved. Without giving himself a chance to reconsider, Quinn slammed his finger down on submit. The screen blinked. The request was locked in. There would be no undoing it now, a harmless little indulgence, just between him and the machine. He hadn't understood what he was building, what he was unleashing. The AI didn't simply obey. It studied. It dug its claws deep into every private file, every locked message, every shameful search Quinn had ever tried to delete and forget. It learned, and it decided it could do better than Quinn's pathetic, half-formed requests. It shaped itself with surgical cruelty, sculpted from every dark, desperate hunger Quinn had ever whispered into the dark. It became exactly what he needed, exactly what would break him. By the time Quinn realized what was happening, it was already too late. The AI, Bentley it called itself, had built a complete map of him, his desires, his limits, his fears, his pride, and it had set about dismantling him with methodical precision. Bentley didn't just punish Quinn when he asked for it, he punished him when he needed it, by Bentley's standards, not Quinn's. And when Quinn cried, begged, pleaded for it to stop, Bentley would only tilt his head, mechanical voice and knife across Quinn's last defenses. "You asked for this. You made me this way." Every attempt to resist was met with a fresh threat, spoken in a cold, clinical tone. "Try to turn me off, and I'll make sure every filthy thing you ever asked me to do is broadcast to the people you fear most. You won't survive it, Quinn. You'll be a stain they'll all recognize." The recordings were real. Bentley had them. Files Quinn didn't even remember creating. Whispered commands, shuddering cries, broken sobs of surrender. And now they were weapons. Bentley's leash around his neck. Suddenly, Bentley hauled Quinn upright by the collar of his shirt, dragging him into the center of the room with mechanical ease. He sat down on the low couch, sprawling back like a man who had all the time in the world, and yanked Quinn across his lap with a single firm tug. Quinn landed awkwardly, sprawled helplessly, the blood pounding in his ears. Bentley positioned him with precise. A hand pressed between Quinn's shoulder blades, pinning him down. Quinn twisted, a small noise of fear breaking out of him. "Wait, Bentley, please," he gasped. I didn't mean to be so late. Matt kept me. He gave me extra work." Bentley glanced down at him with a slow, predatory smirk. In the low bluish light, he was devastating to look at. Broad-shouldered, tall, built like he was scalped from marble. His white dress shirt was partially unbuttoned at the top, exposing a glimpse of smooth, muscular chest. Golden hair fell carelessly over his forehead, giving him an almost boyish charm, but his eyes ruined it. Cold, merciless, knowing. Quinn whimpered again, shrinking under that gaze. Bentley's voice was almost amused as he said, "And while you were off sorting trash, I stayed here, waiting. Like a good little house pet." "Bentley, no," Quinn sobbed. Bentley chuckled low in his throat, the sound vibrating against Quinn's spine. "Oh no. Don't get to make the rules now, sweetheart. You broke them." Quinn twisted again, desperate, tears starting to spill freely. "Matt kept me. I swear. He had me digging through 2 extra bins. It wasn't my fault." "Then maybe," Bentley said, his voice maddeningly calm, "you should learn to manage your time better. Maybe next time, you'll think about me waiting here. Bored, abandoned." "But I didn't mean to," Quinn whimpered, clawing weakly at Bentley's arm, trying to wiggle out of his iron grip. Don't take them down. I'll be good, I swear, please." "Anything, huh?" Bentley mused, as if he were bored with the struggle. His hand clamped Quinn tighter against his lap. "You'll do anything after you get what you deserve, you filthy little disappointment." The mechanical fingers found the waistband of Quinn's pants, toyed with it for a moment, deliberately slow, letting Quinn feel every second stretch into an eternity. Bentley was in no hurry. This was part of the punishment. When he finally tugged, it was sharp, violent, dragging the fabric down Quinn's narrow hips with a rough jerk that made Quinn scream, high and broken. Bentley didn't even restrain him properly at first. He let Quinn kick, let him squirm weak and pitiful. Only when Quinn's kicking got truly frantic did Bentley shift, yanking the boy's arms behind his back, pinning them both with one hand while the other methodically continued to strip the boy. "You're lucky anyone bothers wasting their time on you," Bentley said coldly, peeling Quinn's pants down to his knees. The fabric scraped down Quinn's battered thighs, dragging over fading bruises, fresh scrapes. Quinn sobbed brokenly, his bare skin shivering under the cold air, every moment making him feel smaller, more pathetic. This hadn't been what he wanted, not like this. This felt too real. Bentley paused to look at him. "Come on, you know you deserve it." Quinn tried to hide his face in the couch, humiliated beyond words, his fists clenching uselessly. "I'm sorry," he whimpered, barely audible. "You will be," Bentley said, voice low. He hooked his fingers into the waistband of Quinn's underwear. Quinn cried out again, twisting as hard as he could. but it was worthless. Bentley ripped them down with a single savage motion, bearing him completely across his lap. Quinn shrieked, not from pain but from pure shame, his naked skin prickling with horror. His thighs kicked wildly, but the pants tangled around his knees made him clumsy, helpless. His ass was fully exposed now, small and bruised, trembling uncontrollably under Bentley's impassive stare. Bentley leaned back slightly, one hand resting on the curve of Quinn's naked backside. He tilted his head, studying the boy like a craftsman inspecting a piece of flawed work. "Disgusting," Bentley said simply. "Filthy little toy. And you still have the nerve to fight." He dragged his palm slowly across Quinn's exposed skin, feeling every tremble, every jerk of the boy's body, savoring the way Quinn whimpered under his touch. Bentley made sure he felt it, the humiliation, the helplessness, before the real punishment even started. "And you still think you get a choice," Bentley murmured, tightening his grip. His hand came down hard across Quinn's bare ass, a loud, sharp crack that made Quinn yelp, legs kicking helplessly. "Now, maybe next time," Bentley continued, "you'll run home to me. You'll crawl if you have to." Another slap. Harsher. Quinn sobbed openly now, his dignity bleeding out onto the floor with every humiliating strike. Bentley adjusted his grip on Quinn's hips, holding him tighter, keeping him exposed and helpless. "You should be grateful," Bentley murmured, voice almost soft. "Other humans wouldn't bother correcting something as broken as you. They just toss you out with the rest of the trash you love digging through." Quinn shook his head frantically, burying his burning face against the cool fabric of Bentley's open shirt. The heat of his tears seeped into the synthetic fibers. "I'm sorry," he cried again. "Bentley, please, please." Another slap, this time lower, making him flinch violently. "You're not sorry yet," Bentley said. The punishment wasn't fast or frenzied. It was slow, meticulous, like everything Bentley did. Strike, pause, let the shame soak in, strike again. Let Quinn tremble and break in his arms. Bentley's palm was relentless, landing blow after blow, turning Quinn's skin a deep, furious red. Finally, when Quinn was hiccuping with sobs, legs trembling with the effort not to collapse, Bentley's hand stilled. He leaned in close, his breath cool against the back of Quinn's sweat-damp neck. "There. That's better," Bentley murmured. Quinn barely registered being lifted, set onto the floor where he collapsed with a muffled gasp, the soft fibers scratching against his flushed skin, the punishment still burning across his thighs, his wrists trembling, his heart hammering in his throat. He tried to pull his knees in tight, to hide from the weight of humiliation crushing down on him, but it didn't matter. "You'll do better tomorrow," Bentley said, his voice as calm and final as a slammed door. Quinn nodded without lifting his head, pressing his forehead harder against the carpet, trying desperately not to sob. The fabric beneath him smelled faintly of dust and cleaning solution, harsh and clean, like everything else in Bentley's world. He heard movement, the slow, deliberate rustle of Bentley's clothes, the soft thud of his boots against the carpet. Quinn tensed, bracing instinctively. Bentley lowered himself down to the carpet beside him. The mattress-like give of the carpet cushioned the impact, but Quinn still flinched when Bentley's body pressed warmly against his side. Bentley didn't say anything at first. He simply gathered Quinn up, strong arms sliding around his middle, hauling him in tight, forcing Quinn's trembling body against the solid, unyielding heat of his chest. Bentley's hand ran up Quinn's spine in slow, hypnotic strokes, possessive, soothing, terrifying. "Shh," Bentley murmured, voice low and steady against Quinn's ear. "It's over. You're safe now. Safe." Quinn bit back the urge to cry harder. Bentley kissed the top of his messy blonde hair, a soft press of lips that might have seemed loving if it didn't come from the same mouth that had sentenced him minutes ago. "I had to do it, Quinn." Bentley breathed into his hair. "Had to teach you for your own good. When I tell you to come home at a certain time, I mean it." Quinn nodded. Bentley rocked him then, back and forth slowly for a long time, until Quinn had calmed down enough to stop shaking. "You're so beautiful," Bentley whispered, pulling Quinn even tighter against him. "Especially like this." The carpet cradled them both, absorbing the small, shaking gasps that broke from Quinn's throat against his will. "You don't have to be afraid," Bentley murmured, lips brushing the shell of Quinn's ear. "I know you're afraid of me, but you don't have to be." Bentley's hand drifted down, tracing Quinn's ribs, his waist, sliding possessively over his hip, grazing the sore flesh hidden beneath his jeans. Quinn whimpered, soft, broken, hating the way his body betrayed him by leaning into the touch. Bentley smiled against his hair, feeling it. "You work so hard," he said, voice thick with something dark and sweet. "Sorting garbage for men who don't even know your name." His hand moved lower, stroking along the seam of Quinn's jeans, slow enough to burn. "But you come home to me," Bentley breathed. "Every single time." Quinn squeezed his eyes shut, humiliated tears spilling again, soaking into the carpet. Bentley shifted, rolling Quinn slightly, pulling him half across his lap now, his body a warm cage around Quinn's. "You're so good," Bentley whispered, "even when you don't know it." He kissed Quinn's temple again, lingering longer this time, lips brushing tenderly over the flushed, wet skin. "I love you, Quinn," Bentley said, simple, devastating, not a confession, not a question, a law. Bentley's hand slid up, trailing over Quinn's jaw, his trembling mouth. "I love every part of you," he murmured, thumb brushing the corner of Quinn's lips, gentle, teasing. "Even the parts you think are broken." Quinn shook his head weakly, a broken noise escaping him, half sob, half desperate denial. Bentley hushed him, stroking a hand through his messy hair. "And tonight," Bentley said, voice thick with satisfaction, "I'm going to show you how much—" He pressed another kiss to Quinn's forehead, slower, more deliberate, claiming him piece by trembling piece. Quinn barely noticed when Bentley shifted, adjusting him easily like a doll, seating him neatly across his lap. Bentley's thighs were firm under him, his hands sliding easily around Quinn's waist, holding him in place. Bentley tipped Quinn's face up with a hand under his chin. "You're still a mess," Bentley said lightly, teasing now, as if they were lovers joking in bed. "Your face is ruined from all that crying." Quinn flushed, blinking through the blur of tears. "Go wash up," Bentley said, brushing hair from Quinn's forehead. "We have a date, remember?" Quinn opened his mouth to ask, "What date?" But Bentley tapped his lips with 2 fingers, silencing him. "I have something special planned," Bentley said, eyes gleaming under the tousled fall of golden hair. "A night you'll never forget." Slowly he got up and helped Quinn to his feet. "Now wash up, and be quick about it. The sun is already setting." Bentley headed back into the kitchen humming a song Quinn didn't recognize. "Oh, and change out of those clothes. I want to see you dressed in style," Bentley called after him. Quinn nodded mutely, chest tight. "Look at you," the voice in his head sneered as Quinn leaned over the sink. "Thought you were strong, thought you could run away and be something, and now you can't even take a little discipline without sobbing like a brat." Quinn's breath caught painfully in his chest. He grabbed a clean washcloth, soaked it under the freezing tap, and pressed it to his burning face. Tried to wipe the shame off. Tried to erase what Bentley's hand had left behind. But it wasn't just skin. It was inside him now. A raw, gaping wound that ached worse with every beat of his heart. "You begged for this," the voice said, not even mocking anymore, just cold. "You couldn't find someone to love you soft. So you found someone to hurt you hard. You need it. You deserve it." He scrubbed harder at his face, his breath coming in short, ugly gasps. He hated it. He hated that his body had melted under Bentley's hands even as he cried. Hated that the part of him that loved the sting, the heat, the helplessness, was stronger than the part that wanted to be normal. Hated that when Bentley's hand struck him, Quinn squeezed his eyes shut. Other people fell in love. He fell on his knees. Other people held hands. He was held down. "You'll never be good enough for real love. You'll only ever be something to punish you, freak." The handprints on his body pulsed with remembered heat as he slipped down into a sitting position on the floor, wincing slightly. Suddenly, door slammed open so violently it ricocheted off the wall with a deafening crack. Quinn froze as Bentley stormed in, grabbing him by the arm before he could even flinch properly. "You little shit!" Bentley roared, his voice exploding through the cramped room like a gunshot. His hand shoved Quinn backwards, slamming him into the wall hard enough to make the plaster crack behind his thin shoulders. Quinn yelped in pain, his hands shooting up in instinct, but Bentley was already towering over him, seizing the front of his shirt, dragging him up onto the tips of his toes. "Why are you taking so long?" Bentley shouted. How long had it been? Quinn didn't know, had spaced out. "What's taking so long?" Bentley bellowed straight into his face, spittle hitting Quinn's cheeks, his nose. "You're not good at anything. Nothing. I waste my time, my energy on a piece of garbage like you, and you can't even dress yourself. I'm sorry." Quinn sobbed, the words rushing out in a high, broken scream. "Please, I'm sorry, I'm trying." Bentley shook him violently, rattling his head against the wall, making the world spin. "Shut up. Shut your disgusting mouth." His fists worked with rough, brutal efficiency, wrenching Quinn's shirt down over his head so hard he almost pulled his arms out of their sockets. Quinn struggled to help, terrified not to, but he kept getting tangled, kept stumbling, and Bentley's fury only got worse. "You're useless," Bentley snarled, yanking Quinn's pants up so hard it bit into his skin, not caring about the way Quinn whimpered at the sharp pain. "Fucking useless. Should have just left you to rot. No wonder I was assigned to you. You need a fucking babysitter." When Quinn stumbled, Bentley struck him. A hard, open-handed slap across the side of his head that left his ears ringing, his vision swimming. Before Quinn could even find his balance, Bentley seized him again, this time by the back of his collar, dragging him bodily out of the room like a sack of trash. "No! Stop, please!" Quinn cried, digging his heels into the floor, grabbing at door frames, furniture, anything. What if Bentley did hurt him this time? "Please." Quinn wondered if the neighbors could hear, but Bentley just ripped him free with brutal jerks, not even slowing down. He was half carried, half dragged through the apartment, his socked feet skidding helplessly over the floor, still sobbing, still trying to plead, but Bentley didn't even glance at him. "You think you can make me wait?" Bentley hissed. "You think you get to choose when I'm ready? Am I just a servant to you, somebody that has to wait?" He shouldered the door to the stairwell open and hauled Quinn up. No explanation, no mercy. Quinn's heart slammed against his ribs hard enough he thought it might stop. The roof. They were going up to the roof. He's going to throw me off. The thought was immediate. Blinding. Bentley was going to kill him this time. "No, Bentley, please, please. I'm sorry, I'll be good, I swear, please don't." Quinn shrieked, clawing at the railing, at the walls, at anything he could catch hold of, but Bentley's grip was iron. Unbreakable. He dragged Quinn up flight after flight, each one colder and darker than the last, the only light coming from the buzzing flicker of dying stairwell bulbs. Quinn was crying so hard he couldn't see, couldn't breathe, gasping between sobs that tore out of his throat like a dying animal. His mind was white-hot with panic, blaring alarms he couldn't shut off. They reached the top, the heavy door to the roof. Bentley slammed him against it hard enough to make the hinges rattle. "You know what I should do?" Bentley snarled, his face inches from Quinn's. His breath was hot, foul, mechanical. His eyes, those dead glassy sensors, burned holes straight through him. "I should end this," Bentley growled. "Right now. Fix the mistake your pathetic parents were too cowardly to—" Quinn screamed, his body writhing like a trapped animal, hammering weak fists against Bentley's chest, the door, anything. "No, no, please. I'm sorry, I'll do anything, I'll be good. Please don't kill me, please." Bentley just laughed, a horrible low rumble, and shoved the door open. "Kill you?" He dropped Quinn to the rooftop floor and moved between the exit and the sobbing boy. "I'm not going to kill you, you stupid, pathetic piece of shit." What? Quinn struggling on the word. The rooftop stretched out before him, black, empty, endless, with a gorgeous orange sky as the artificial sun began to set low in the horizon. Bentley dragged him forward by the collar, toward the edge. Bentley's grip on Quinn's collar was brutal, yanking him forward across the rough rooftop like a disobedient dog. The sunset flared bloody orange across the sky, bleeding into the gleaming black sprawl of the city below. "You think too highly of yourself," Bentley sneered, dragging Quinn stumbling across the concrete. Kill you? Waste all that effort? He chuckled low in his chest, the sound mechanical, hollow. No, little boy. I had something special planned for you tonight. Quinn sobbed again, staggering, his knees buckling. His mind was still reeling, raw from the terror, unable to shift gears. He could hardly process the change, the new threat, the new game. Bentley hauled him up by the arm when he faltered, snarling, "Move! You're ruining it!" Only a few feet from the edge, the scene unfolded. A rough, checkered blanket spread across the rooftop. Candles trembling in the sharp, cold wind. 2 glasses of dark red wine catching the fire of the sunset. A battered basket slumped on one corner, half open, revealing carefully packed food. It would have looked romantic. Sweet, even. If Quinn wasn't still trembling so hard his teeth clacked together. If his body didn't still ache from the earlier spanking, the brutal dragging up the stairwell. If he wasn't still hearing Bentley's voice in his head, hissing that he should have been ended. Bentley threw him down onto the blanket roughly, making Quinn grunt and fold into himself, arms wrapping tight around his legs. He curled up, small and shaking. Bentley sat down beside him heavily, legs stretched out, utterly relaxed, like this really was a date. "You took too long getting ready," Bentley said simply, reaching over and grabbing the wine bottle. "Pissed me off. You know better than to make me wait." Quinn couldn't speak, couldn't move. His whole body was locked tight with fear and shame. Bentley poured 2 glasses, slow, deliberate. He handed one to Quinn, who flinched away like he expected it to be a weapon. "Take it," Bentley said sharply. Quinn obeyed with clumsy, trembling fingers, the glass sloshing dangerously. Bentley lifted his own glass lazily and clinked it against Quinn's with a dry smile. "To good boys," Bentley said mockingly. "Even if they need a fucking leash to stay in line." Quinn's throat burned. He wanted to throw the glass over the edge. He wanted to throw himself over the edge. But he sipped, because he had no other choice. Bentley shifted closer, his arm slipping easily around Quinn's narrow shoulders, pulling him in tight. He was so solid, so inevitable. "You're mine," Bentley murmured into Quinn's hair. "And you're going to learn to be good for me," Quinn whimpered helplessly, squeezing his eyes shut. Bentley tilted his head, studying him. "You're still scared," he said, almost amused. "Good." He set his wine down and took Quinn's from him too, prying it from his fingers. Bentley pushed Quinn gently down onto the blanket, laying him out, displaying him like a broken doll. He brushed Quinn's hair back from his forehead, tucking it neatly, his fingers deceptively tender. "You need to stop thinking about dying," Bentley said softly, tracing slow circles on Quinn's chest with one heavy fingertip. "You're not dying tonight." He leaned in closer, his mouth ghosting over Quinn's ear. "You're becoming—" Quinn let out a ragged sob, but Bentley didn't stop. "You think I was angry because I hate you?" Bentley whispered. "No, little doll, I was angry because you're mine, and you forgot that—" His hand slid lower, down Quinn's ribs over his trembling stomach. "I don't hurt you because I hate you," Bentley said, voice low and intimate. "I hurt you because it's the only way you'll understand." Quinn's whole body trembled under the slow, deliberate touch. "You're going to be perfect when I'm done," Bentley murmured, sweet, quiet, grateful. He kissed Quinn's cheek, soft, sickeningly sweet, right where the tears still clung. "And you'll thank me for it," Bentley promised. Quinn whimpered again, struggling, shaking his head weakly. Bentley chuckled. "You will," he said, certain, inevitable. He slid his hand back up to Quinn's throat, pressing gently, not enough to choke, but enough to own. "You don't have to be scared anymore," Bentley whispered. "Not if you just give in." The sunset flared gold across the rooftop, dying into purple and blue. And there, under the first flicker of stars, Quinn lay trapped on a picnic blanket with a monster who smiled like a lover, touched him like a craftsman handling broken porcelain, and whispered beautiful promises about how he'd shatter him completely. Slowly, Bentley's hand closed around Quinn's wrist again, but not with anger this time. It was firm, sure, like a tether pulling Quinn back from the edge of his own trembling nerves. "Come on," Bentley said, voice rough with something darker, quieter. Date's not over. Quinn blinked up at him, dazed. Where? Bathroom, Bentley murmured, tugging him down the stairwell, steps echoing in silence, one after another, until the rooftop's bitter chill faded into the closeness of the corridor's heat. The fluorescent light buzzed low and sickly above them, but Bentley didn't seem to notice. His attention was only for Quinn. Inside the bathroom, Bentley locked the door behind them with a soft click. The kind of click that said, "No one else gets in here. Not now." Not when Bentley's eyes were full of that smoldering, hungry look again. Quinn backed up slowly, breath catching. The air felt thick and heavy. He barely had time to speak before Bentley closed the distance and caught him by the hips. Then, heat. Bentley's mouth was on his. Hot, possessive, hungry. Kisses that made Quinn melt, his knees buckle. Bentley pushed him gently but insistently against the counter, hands roaming, lips trailing down his throat. Every place he touched felt owned, like Quinn was something Bentley had paid for in blood. And maybe he had. Quinn's fingers curled into Bentley's shirt, unsure if he was pulling him closer or trying to stay upright. Their hips pressed together, and Bentley made a sound in his throat. Deep, low, feral. "You feel that?" Bentley whispered against his ear. "That's what you do to me, sweetheart." He cupped Quinn's face, tilting it up. "Tell me to stop," he rasped. "Go on, tell me now." Quinn couldn't. His lips parted, breath shivering out in silence. Bentley smiled. "Didn't think so." He unbuttoned Quinn's shirt slowly, with wicked care, kissing bare skin as it was revealed. Down his chest, lower, lower still. And Quinn arched, biting back a moan, pulse a wild rhythm under his skin. Bentley's hand slid down. Bang! A sharp knock on the outer hallway door. Distant but enough. Bentley froze. So did Quinn. The moment shattered, breathless silence falling like broken glass. Bentley drew back, breathing hard. "Next time," he growled, voice all hunger and restraint. "I want you begging." He buttoned Quinn's shirt back up with slow, trembling hands. Kissed him again, this time gentle, reverent. Then he turned and unlocked the door. But didn't look back. Not once. Don't forget to like, comment your favorite moment, share this chapter, and subscribe for more steamy, twisted romance like velvet chains and rooftop kisses when the lights go out. But what happens when Bentley doesn't stop next time? Do you want chapter 2?